Serious, frugal people of Reddit, what's a way to save money that most people don't realize? Take good care of the things you currently own and use them for as long as you can. Buy replacement things less often. Cars, phones, clothes, etc. I like to take everything to total component failure. My last SUV had 310,000 miles. Current car 240,000. Unfortunately, I feel I waste a lot of the money I save from not having a car payment, but I love not having a car payment. This might be counterintuitive, but budget for fun money. If you are being super careful with money and don't do anything fun, it gets old, and then you make some silly expensive purchase that maybe you can't undo. But if you have a budget item for fun and you don't overspend that amount, of course, then you get to have some fun and it makes all the other being frugal you're doing easier to do. Bulk food. A 40-pound sack of rice is so cheap versus buying a pound or 5 at a time. Most dried foods are much cheaper in a large sack. Same with meat. Buy the bulk pack, portion it into smaller amounts and freeze most of it. Store brand items are generally a good deal. Snacks are expensive and generally crappy nutrition. Don't buy chips or sodas. If you need something sweet, make small batches of cookies from scratch or brew some tea or coffee. Cooking for one sucks, tends to be wasteful, and is expensive. Get a few people together and split the cost or trade off. Fashion is expensive. Buy 1 or 2 pairs of good shoes boots rather than many cheap ones. Same for trousers and coats. Choose your hobbies and recreation wisely. Consider how much enjoyment you get for money spent. There are many ways to have a good time and be social that don't require spending much money. Learn to fix stuff when you can. Repair, don't replace. Don't get trapped into a sunk cost. Sometimes it is cheaper to walk away. A coat of paint will pretty up a lot of things. Stay the heck out of poverty traps like Dollar General. They are a terrible deal. Don't overbuy your vehicle. Don't try to impress people with your car. If the person selling you the car seems shady, trust your gut and walk away. Never buy from a buy here pay here lot. Interest and fees are a killer. Pay off interest as fast as you can. And the biggest, don't be ashamed. Advertising conditions you to want more than you can afford and feel bad when you don't have the nicest things. That's bulls. I disagree on one point. Dollar stores. A $1 gift bag versus a $4.991 at other stores. I only get wrapping paper at $1 stores or stock up after holidays when it is 75% or more off. You can get decent cards 2 for $1 if you ever send cards. $1 Rubbermaid storage that is $7.99 elsewhere. There are deals to be had on cheap stuff that is cheaply made wherever purchased. Don't fall for the manipulative dirty tricks that stores, mostly grocery stores, pull on people to get them to spend money. I'm a miserably cheap sob. It is a freaking war out there against consumers. Businesses want their money and will do all kinds of fricked up crap to get it. Try to put a few clothes aside in a box and forget about it. 6 months later, open the box, and you'll feel like you have a whole new wardrobe. Do your own cleaning, washing, ironing. Some people pay for this, but they don't realize just how much they spend on such things in a year. Fancy haircuts seldom last. Give your friend a pair of scissors, or do it yourself if you can. Don't succumb to peer pressure, following others of your generation. But at the same time, set aside some bit of money for something you really like. To ensure you're caring for your happiness, it could be a meal out a month, an ebook, anything. If you're lacking entertainment, a surprising number of older books, movies etc. are available legally free on the internet. Delay renewals of cable, Netflix etc. for a month or 2 if you can. Agree with all but trusting a friend on a haircut. I'd probably have to overspend on hats and such afterwards. Call your bill companies and ask if there's a way to lower the bill. I do this periodically and there almost always is. I just lowered my car insurance by $100 just by asking. I had raised my credit score a lot since I last checked on it. Get new things 1 model late. Markedly cheaper than the brand new stuff, and the beta testing is all out of the way. Prevention is cheaper than treatment. Bike to work. This may sound obvious, but a lot of people seem to do it anyways. Get water from home. Nothing saves money more than bringing your water bottle places instead of paying for drinks or water. Pay your bills on time. Double check if you really use all your subscriptions. If you got a gym membership, you don't need to shower at home. Join a medical drug study for free help if you have depression, etc. Use Facebook Marketplace and second-hand stores. Buy one good pair of shoes, maybe boots and insoles. Eggs are cheap. Soup is filling and oats are versatile. Grow your own veggies in summer. Tomato, bell peppers, tomatillo, radishes, zucchini, cucumbers are super easy to grow. Just needs a lot of sunlight. It's hard if you live in an apartment, but if so, grow your own sprouts. Cheap and nutritious. Living with family as an adult is not anything to be ashamed of. If you need to live with your parents' relatives until you get a pay bump or a better job, do it. If there's something you see and you really want, like a video game or movie etc., wait 24 hours. If you still want it, then buy it. This kills a huge amount of impulse buys. When you do buy something, ask if you can buy it twice. If you'd buy something for $20 but not $40, then don't buy it. The key is really to live below your means. If you're making, say $2,000 a month, don't move into an apartment that's $1,400 in rent. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you can afford it. I've saved so much money this way when it comes to buying things. Manage your driving. Only drive your car where you actually need to go. Plan trips so you can run multiple errands near each other. Don't freaking joyride for the heck of it. If you're commuting to a fixed workplace 5 days a week, work to find a cheaper way to get there than driving your own individually occupied car. Take the train or the bus. Organize a carpool. Ride a bike. Whatever. Every mile you drive your car costs you money in gas and maintenance. Every mile you drive your car increases your chance of an accident, which speaks to repairs and insurance costs. Every mile you drive reduces the car's resale value. I see so many people spending over $100 a week just paying for gas and insurance, not even talking about loan payments or resale value, and wonder why the frick do they do that? I'm wanting an e-bike but have been being lazy about it. Maybe I'll actually get one. These ways could be more applicable for most of the students, but here are some of them. Try to buy some refills like pens and paper pages instead of buying a whole new product. I also ask some people here to give me some papers I can use. Scratch papers. For solving. Don't always rely on branded items. Try generic products cause some of them works really fine too. Also, instead of buying binder notebooks, just try to buy some binder rings and reuse some folders and DIY. I know many people have said it many times, but learn how to prioritize things. Don't always try to follow anything that's a social media trend. Just because an item is on sale, it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily buy it. Instead of buying bottled waters when going to school, settle for a tumbler. When buying clothes, try to consider thrift shops and look for good quality clothes. I also plan on saving some money for some plain shirts cause I want to avoid stressing myself out on what to wear, and because most of my clothes are worn out now, people need to get used to how I dress myself. Investment is also a must. I am not saying that I got rich from these ways, but it helped me a lot, and of course my parents. Hope that my words made some sense. I can say the try generic products part is applicable to lots of things, including most shelf-stable foods. Being raised as a dirt child by one of the world's cheapest men, my awesomely weird father, here is my advice. This is a biggie: constantly question your own social conditioning. Swallow your pride and look for creative solutions. X. Buy XXL. Preferably used. Kids clothes as an adult. X. Accept the scraps of entitled rich people. My brother literally got a perfectly good TV from a dorm dumpster that some turd threw away when they moved out. My dad, crazy as he is, saw a random hose down by the river, and instead of leaving it be like a normal person, got a new hose. X. Scour the thrift store for things new in packages that can pass for gifts. Bonus. Be constantly scouring for well-priced gifts for specific people and save them for whatever event. Attempt to fix things and limp them along until they completely die. We had so much crap like the cassette player with the broken radio when I was a kid. Always go for used first. Track your spending to get an idea where you are going overboard and or can cut. Take a hard look at cancelling most or all subscription services. Avoid buying products overpriced due to meaningless marketing, like women's razors. I could go on, but I've already said a ton. My last insight is I've come to view time and money as opposite ends of a scale. Easy to spend money and save time. Easy to save money and spend time. Penny pinching to the extreme takes a ton of time, so be prepared for saving money to be like a hobby. Fun fact, the more expensive pink women's razors are actually lower quality blades due to the fact that on average women have softer, finer hair to shave. Men's razors will always last longer, be more effective, and cause less nicks despite being cheaper. Buy nothing and free sickle. There is so many good things people just give away for free. You're not seen as a mooch for asking, but rather someone who's looking to give something a new lease on life and keep items out of a landfill. I'd reckon 90% of my children's clothes and equipment have been passed on by others. Also, always drive through wealthy neighborhoods on the night before garbage collection, particularly on bulk pickup days. You can find amazing things curbside. Using cash to make payments instead of a credit card or debit card. Using plastic detaches us from the idea of the amount of money being spent and causes us to spend more. If you're disciplined enough, using credit cards with cash back rewards is free money with the benefit of building credit. Several have already mentioned cooking your own meals and avoiding going out to eat. I'll add on top of that to eat leftovers. Leftover meat can last for 3-4 days safely, and veggies even longer. You can get a decent air fryer for under $100 bucks, and they are amazing for reheating food compared to a microwave. If your local grocery store has a great deal on certain types cuts of meat that you like, stock up. Freeze what you're not going to eat soon. Seriously saves a lot of $. Stop paying bank fees. There are ways to avoid paying bank fees on major banks, or if the minimum balance is something you can't afford, online banks can offer the same services for free without a minimum balance. Most credit unions offer very low balance requirements, like $5, and don't forget to opt out of overdraft protection. This is counterintuitive, but don't buy the cheapest version of everything you get, especially with household items. The quality of the cheapest stuff is poor and you'll often end up using it much quicker than getting something mid-range. Case in point, my other half will buy the cheapest kitchen paper towels. You need to use double the amount due to them being thin. I get mid-range and it takes double the time to run through the same amount. Shop smart, not just cheap. Oh, and buy non-branded over-the-counter medicines, egg paracetamol, not Tylenol. The patents on most common ones elapsed, so it is literally the same product. Learn to sew. If you can get a machine second-hand, that's great. If not, sewing by hand is just fine. You can easily turn a long skirt into a shorter summer skirt, longer slacks into capris or shorts, hem pants, repair split seams, anything. It's far cheaper than buying new every time an item doesn't fit the way you think it should, and it's a skill that can solve a lot of problems. You can also update garments you already own with simple solutions like fabric dye or switching out buttons for fancier ones. Cut out alcohol. You will not only save money on drinks for when out in bars, but also expensive drinks at home. You will save on buying unnecessary drinks for others which they didn't really want but you got for them anyway because you were drunk and generous. You will save on other stupid purchases you are in danger of making when tipsy. You will have less expensive accidents where you drop fragile possessions, snag clothing, spill things on carpets and clothing. You will always be on time for work with a fresh brain, enabling you to maximize your day and potentially earn more money. The list is endless. Yeah, I don't have to waste money replacing stuff I lost when drinking. Headphones, clothes, act. Pro tip: never take your phone charger out with you when you're drinking, it never returns with you, lol. I think most people know the ways to save money. It's a matter of willingness. Everybody knows you should only spend money on what's necessary if you want to save money, but what they deem as necessary can highly vary depending on who you ask. For example, we all need food, clothes and shelter at a bare minimum, but are you willing to save loads of money by eating PB&Gs every day for every meal? Are you willing to only have 2-3 plain outfits you can wear outside the house? Take cold 2-3 minute showers every 2-3 days. It's in the many little habits. Many smaller than those I've mentioned that add up if you are cutting back across the board. If you live like you're poor, you may become rich. But if you live like you're rich, you'll drive yourself poor. Take the time and effort to learn how to do simple tasks that you may pay someone to do. Oil changes, home plumbing, small projects. If there is a remote chance you think you might could do it, look it up on YouTube or wherever. You'll be surprised how much you might save by DIY. Pump your gas on the slowest setting. The fastest setting will aerate the gas in the nozzle, and you'll actually get less than what you pay for. Buy a less capsule wardrobe is enough. If you can afford to buy higher quality items, do. Shop your closet. Never buy full price. Go utilitarian instead of fast fashion or splurge items. Spend on your health. Gym workouts, electric toothbrush, etc. Medical bills are way more expensive. Keep recurring costs low. Rent, mortgage, car, etc. Pay down debt. Don't wait for when payment is due. You're still accruing interest. Pay whenever you feel you can in addition to when payment is due. Make your own coffee. I did the math. Bought a Keurig and reusable coffee filter and Contigo. Much cheaper than coffee out. Have some friends and same social strata. Instead of going to movies, have a potluck movie night. Know exactly how much you make versus spend. Grocery list. This one is tough. I wish there were more meal prep lists so you could cook for the week. Never put anything on credit you can't afford that second unless it's life or death. Car broke down. Medical necessity. Always shop around town for a deal. Double coupons. Store A versus Store B for sale item. Experiences over stuff for presents and free time. Don't dye your hair or sew any fancy extras. Spend where it counts. Health. Safety. Some level of life enjoyment. Honestly, what made a huge difference for me was making my lunches instead of eating out 2-3 times a week. I always justified it saying to myself, well, I gotta eat. It's a pretty basic need, but honestly compared to the cost of packing a lunch, it's crazy how much and how fast I saved ever since making an effort for it. Also, much more healthy most of the time, so that's a nice bonus. If you want to buy something electronic, wait. It will probably come down in price. I'm old enough to remember $1,000 microwaves, VCRs, and CD players. I bought a Nintendo 64 when it first came out for $300. A few months later that had become $99. Patience. This is more relevant than ever considering the shortage of common computer chips, which is driving up prices on plenty of electronics. I'm a big fan of the 72-hour rule, which is if you want to buy something, wait 72 hours, then see if you still want to buy it. In that time frame, do some research to see if the price is the best one, if you can find it used, if you can get it for free, etc. For bigger purchases, more than $200, I try to wait 3 months if I can, then see if I still want it. Sometimes I'll even make a pro-con list. It's helped curb impulse buys and really improved the quality of the purchases that I do make. Quit going out to eat. Consolidate your trips. Make a loop with your stops. If you don't need it, do buy it. Shop around and research purchases. Even if the initial investment is a bit higher, you don't have to pay to fix it as often. So in the long run it is cheaper, and don't put off preventative maintenance items. Also, you're not saving money by buying something you didn't intend to buy anyways that's on sale. You just spent $100 on something you didn't really need. Buying in bulk and rationing out meals can get meals to be under $1 per serving. The lowest my family has gotten was 50 cents a serving. Also, to people who say you can't eat cheap and healthy, yes you can. You are just not trying hard enough. Meal preps can be extra cheap if you know what you are doing. Also, there is a like 10 pounds bag of chicken at Walmart for like $11. Even for a big family like mine, that chicken is at least 3 meals. Imagine for only 2 people. Sure, eating chicken for months on end freaking sucks. I am well aware, but that is not all you have to buy. People over at our Eat Cheap and Healthy would agree with you. Just don't do things you don't want to do. Don't want to wear makeup? Don't. Don't want to shave your legs? Don't. Want to wear sweatpants literally 100% of the time you're not working? Have at it. Don't want to do any skincare because your skin is fine on its own? Go for it. Want to wear the same plain black shirt every day? You get the picture. Being depressed to a point where nothing brings you any amount of joy anymore. You end up not buying anything besides what you need to survive. You never go out anywhere. You never buy new clothes until you absolutely need to, so you can still look like you're keeping it together when you have to leave your house. Only buy a home you can afford to pay off in 15 years or less. You'll save a ton in interest and get a smaller home. Save a ton on utilities and maintenance. Invest the money you save for retirement. The average single detached home in my area went for over $900,000 last month. A 3-bedroom townhouse on my street just went for $800,000. I'm by no means poor, but there is no home I can afford to pay off in 15 years or less. I'm guaranteed looking at a 30-year mortgage, and I can't even afford that right now unless I go for a single bedroom condo in a bad location. We bake our own bread, grow herbs we use regularly. We rarely eat meat but buy our freezer box for the times we do use it. All bones are saved to make soup stock, and use many generic food products. Stop ordering Seamless, Grubhub, etc. for the love of God. I watch in horror as coworkers and friends dump $15.20 per meal, multiple times a week for lunch. Learn how to cook, make big batches of it, and profit. If you still refuse, at least get your fattest to go pick it up to save on delivery fees and tips. Calculate how much you're spending per month or per year on little things. $3 a day doesn't sound like much, but $90 a month? Got this. Especially if the fine print says that there's a minimum amount of time you have to be paying the subscription for. Receipt scanning apps. I have 3 apps, and I scan every receipt I get. You can upload the same receipt to each app. You then earn gift cards to most major retailers, Amazon, and one has a PayPal cash out option. Diapers work great on one app. You earn points for every diaper purchase, then turn around and use gift cards to pay for the next box of diapers. It's a self-feeding cycle. Go vegan and save up to 30% on your grocery bill while dramatically lowering your carbon footprint, saving water, saving energy, and saving sentient lives. Don't buy crap you will never use or use occasionally, or subscribe to services you don't care about. Whenever the thought about buying something comes to your mind, don't think about it in terms of money. Compare it to work hours. Money is just paper, so it easily tricks your mind. But when you remember how hard you had to work for it, you get a new perspective and things a new value. Pump bottles for household liquids. Discovered my partner uses 5x less liquid when I buy brands with pumps, so I've just been refilling the pump bottles ever since. Save a ton on shampoo, conditioner, etc. Do you have a public library near you? Not just books and DVDs, but they have online subscriptions to books, movies, audiobooks, magazines. Many have items you can borrow that you never thought of from the library. Everything from video games to specialty baking pans, tools, themed book toy boxes for kids. Mine even has a seed library where anyone can get free seeds and info to grow food plants. Also, many do free craft classes or other events for a free evening out with a good chance of coffee and cookies. It's getting harder to do, but wherever possible, pay with cash. There's a real psychological difference, and you're far more likely to consider, do I really need this, when you have to physically hand over the money. If you use cash, put away a certain type of bill every time you get one for a year at least. That way at the beginning of the year you have a lot of extra cash on hand, and you'd be surprised at the amount of money you have saved up that had you not saved would have probably went towards something miscellaneous. My dad did that last year and he had over $2,000 in pure $10s. I do this with my tips. I've got a little over $100 in ones now. Might not seem like a lot, but it definitely adds up. One of my co-workers throws all of her paper tips in a box and had about $2,000 last time she counted it out. The prices for a lot of things at fairs are often negotiable. I bought a 10 feet charging cable and a solar powered battery bank for $35 instead of the original $50. I don't buy cheap clothes, anything fast fashion, H&M, Zara, etc. I buy clothes that are on the expensive side, but last long. I also started working from home, which saves time and money on fuel. My car insurance rates went down. Finding coupons online for things that I need to buy. Read up on any major purchases, like a vehicle, house, appliances, etc. on what the best brands are, what costs really are, and any ways you might be scammed or buying add-ons with little added value. You're looking for a magazine or website that is unbiased. In the USA, that would be Consumer Reports. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.